Hey Mike, thank you very much for having me over to your wonderful place, and thanks for pulling out one of your great bikes. This is something a little special.
Right, this is a 63 A10 650 Rocket Gold Star, supposedly one of 1,200 made. 200 of them were Clubmen, so it's really what they call a Western edition, and they did about 1,000 of them. They came very similar to this, so I'm told, with the bobbed back fender. I put the 2-in-1 exhaust on it. Somebody else chromed the tank and the side cover. Got the tank replaced. It has a lightning tank on it, so there's no vent and no screw-in cap. This is probably about the only thing that's not original on it that I know of that should be a Rocket Gold Star part. It's got the chronometric, tack, and speedo. It shows 33,704 miles on it. I ride it. I've had the motorcycle close to 25 years almost. And when I got it, the engine was in really bad shape. It had a broken lifter and a worn cam and very little compression, and I would play with it and get it running and ride it up and down the driveway, and then come back and let it sit for a few years and start it up and ride it again. And here just recently, in the last 3-4 years, I actually had a chance to do the engine on it. So it's bored over 80 with some forged pistons, 10.5-to-1 compression, Johnson cam. I ported it, it's balanced, a few other little goodies, blueprinted out the oil pump, and it runs really good, as we'll show you later.
Yeah. It sounds great, doesn't it? I know you've been to our club meeting a few times on it, and it just barks as you take off from the Horse Brass pub.
Yeah, they don't usually throw rocks at me when I bring it to the Norton Club. No. It's a fun bike, and like I said, I ride it, and I haven't done anything as far as cosmetics other than match and polish the cases when I had it all apart, just to make it look right. And I tried not to over polish them because I kind of wanted them to be the way that it was when it was new. I did the seat on it, did that myself with a store-bought seat that came, and the foam was actually from a catalog too.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I put new Dunlops on it because the tires were very checked on it, and I couldn't hardly ride it on longer trips. Did the brakes on it with Fleet Pride. And then I took the front one apart and I made fixturing, and I turned the shoes to match the drum again because they weren't matched up. And the brakes weren't okay, but they weren't like a 63 BSA's brakes.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out that magic formula to make the brakes weren't perfect yet.
That was a very popular mod though, chroming the oil tank, wasn't it? I've seen a lot of bikes here in the States where that was done. I don't think that happened so much in the UK, but I've heard various stories from actually chrome was cheaper than paint almost back in the day, plus it looks cool.
Right, yeah, my dad had a 65 250 Honda Scrambler that just had chrome everything on it, and it was pretty neat. There's a story that Cliff's partner or something owned this bike at one time, and it was his baby, and he did these things to it. Then it ended up in this other guy's collection in St. Helens that's no longer among us, so I never really got the whole story and whose bike exactly it was or talked to the people, and unfortunately we can't talk to Cliff or Wayne anymore, so that's too bad.
His name comes up all the time in the videos. Such a formidable force, wasn't he, in the Portland area?
He owns so many motorcycles, he probably wouldn't even recognize this one if he saw it. It was just, it was always fun to go in there. You always kind of went in there and came out with your tail between your legs, but you got parts, and you was able to keep them running. And
just take a deep breath before you walked into the cycle hub.
Yeah, it was always an interesting trip, and go through and look at all the motorcycles, and gee, I wish I had one of those to play with, and wow. Yeah, so this has been a great motorcycle, lots of fun. It's ridden a lot. It still has the same grips that it had on it when I got them. I have no idea if they're stock or what, but it's been a pretty good running motorcycle lately. It did leave me stranded on the trip back from Batwater, for a brief moment in Rainier. The oil feed line up to the valve train broke, cracked, and started leaking, and left a big puddle of oil at the Chevron station.
Luckily nothing catastrophic though,
No, it still feels pretty good, no compression or valve train noise or anything. No. It's pretty tough,
It's so great to see one in this condition, because there's so many that have been restored and they look beautiful and they're fantastic, but it's actually quite unusual to see one that's in almost original condition, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
it's
love it.
hard for me to own something that's show quality because my driveway is 3/4 of a mile long and gravel, and I ride my stuff. I couldn't bear to trailer this thing down to the bottom and get in and ride it for an hour and then come back. And I've got some really great riding right around my house, so it's nothing to get on the thing and go out for an hour and a half, 2-hour ride and come back and, you know, just kind of clear your head. And that's a lot of fun.
And you're off-road riding, you do a lot of off-road riding. I can tell, you know, you can tell that guy that gets on his bike and he's just very comfortable and knows how to ride a bike really well. And you come across as that kind of rider when I see you take off from the club meetings.
Yeah, I've been riding since I was a little kid, raced motocross when I was a teenager, and, you know, done a lot of different tracks. I raced the second weekend that Washougal was open in the early 70s up there on my 71 100 Penton. So there's a lot of good times on motorcycles.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I still ride on the road, you know, commute a little bit, not as much as I used to on a more modern bike. And
Yeah. It's got busy, hasn't it, in Portland?
Yeah.
It really is busy now.
it's not as fun to ride on the road
No.
and commute anymore. I kind of have this thing that I say that I like to ride where I want to go instead of where I have to go.
Would you mind starting it?
Yeah, let's see if it
Would
starts.
you mind?
One of the things you got to remember with this thing is to retard the timing a little bit or it'll kick back. And sometimes it starts, sometimes it doesn't. Let me make one more pass. I forgot to advance the timing.
Oh my gosh. Okay guys, would you do that on your Rocket Gold Star? Oh, that was fantastic.
The quite a difference how it sounds when you don't advance that timing. You know, you got to retard it down so it doesn't kick back.
That was amazing. It sounds brilliant, doesn't it? It sounds so good.
The 2-into-1 has a real unique sound
It's
to all
got
the other
bark, hasn't
twin
it?
pipe bikes.
Yeah, I
It's-
love that. I love that. It's
That
a really
muffler-
cool sound.
That muffler mic has absolutely no packing in it whatsoever. It has a baffle that goes sideways in it with holes.
Whoa, really?
And that's all that's in there.
It's just
And it's pretty much
almost
straight through.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mike.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was a pleasure to hear it and see it. Yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
Thank you very much.